Should Ronnie Stanley be traded? What's going on, LBHT crew? That has been the talk of Ravens flock for the last couple of weeks. Okay, and we're going to discuss it more in this video. Ronnie Stanley coming off an injury, doesn't look 100%. It's not looking great out there. Okay, we understand that. The question is Ronnie Stanley cooked? B, is he done? Should we cut ties with them? Should we trade him? Cut him, whatever, get up from under that $11 million that we're paying him and put that to better use. You guys, if you watch the show, you know how we feel about it already. Ronnie Stanley, don't see any better options out there. He needs to stay, or at least really make sure that you know he's done before you move on for him. So we'll make our case for why Ronnie Stanley should stay in Baltimore and not be traded. B.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's basically what you said, right? Like they don't have any way to replace him. People ask us all the time because we talk about John Harbaugh getting fired. Oh, well, who are you going to replace him with? And it's like point at somebody, and you'll find a better replacement. Yeah. That's not the case with offensive linemen. That's not the case with offensive linemen at any position, let alone left tackle, which is arguably the most important position on the O-line, right? It's the hardest position to fill on the O-line. It's one of the hardest positions to fill in football. Ronnie Stanley being hurt and not looking great in his first couple games back, it's obviously not the best, but it's not reason to panic and move on, right? We always use the example of Trent Williams. That's what Washington did. He was hurt quite a bit in Washington. They decided he was done. And to be fair, he decided he didn't want to play for them anymore either because of the way their training staff was acting. But they traded him for a third and a fifth to San Francisco, and he's right back to being the best left tackle in the league. And it seems that a lot of teams are helping out San Francisco that way. Carolina traded him, Christian McCaffrey. The Broncos just traded him, Randy Gregory, who came in and got a sack in his first game. But no, you have to, like you said, you have to be very, very sure, one, that he can't play anymore before you even think about making a move. And second, you have to be very, very sure that you're going to get an adequate replacement because they don't have one on the roster. Patrick McCarr is not a starting left tackle. Daniel Faalele is not a starting offensive lineman. And you don't have any other candidates for that position. Now, maybe you can say, hey, we'll wait till after the season and try and move him then. But even at that point, again, good left tackles typically don't hit free agency. Teams aren't typically willing to move them via trade. And Eric DeCosta has not shown the ability to draft offensive linemen at all.
So, all right. So let's take it there, right? Because when we present the argument, how do you replace him, right? Nobody has an answer, okay? Because there is no clear answer. But one of the things I hear out there is, well, we can trade him. But what does trading solve, right? Because we're not trading him for a better left tackle. That's not going to happen, right? And we're trading them for what? Picks? Well, what does EDC do with picks? Especially picks that aren't first round picks, right? And if you think Ryan Stanley's cooked, you can't expect anything in the first round for him, right? We're getting rid of him because we think he's done. The assumption would be another team's not going to give you another first round pick. They're going to give you a second or even a couple of seconds or a second and a third, something like that. And you look at it and say, oh, those are high picks. EDC doesn't do a good job with those picks.
Yeah, so, and we'll look at the history of Eric DeCosta as the GM in Baltimore. Now, Tyler Linderbaum looks really good. Looks great. So that's one pick. 2019, they drafted Ben Powers, who for Baltimore was mostly a bust. I know he got things together in his last year, and that's great for him, and they weren't able to re-sign him. He went on his way to, I believe it was Denver. So we can give him half credit for that one. 2020, you draft Tyree Phillips and Ben Bredesen. Nothing there.
Right.
Both, neither one of them on the roster. Bredesen is with the Giants. I believe Phillips might be out of the league. I'm not sure where he's at right now.
Tiny
Uh,
Phillips. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know.
2021, he got Ben Cleveland, who obviously has never stepped up and gotten that starting position, and is not even really a preferred backup.
Right.
Uh, 2022 was when they got Tyler Linderbaum, but they also got Daniel Falalele, who has not developed the way one might hope. And
Right.
this past year, they drafted Sala and Andrew Voorhees. Obviously, Voorhees is hurt, and Sala failed to win the left guard spot this offseason because he looked terrible. So, in
Now,
his years as the GM, you're talking about one in Tyler Linderbaum and
right.
partial credit for Ben Powers, who kind of had a contract year awakening and then left.
So I don't give any credit for Ben Powers. Not in this scenario that we're talking about, right? In terms of our ability to replace Ronnie Stanley, because we can't draft somebody that we have to wait 4 years for them to be good,
Mhm.
right? Like if we're replacing Ronnie Stanley, that player has to be good now,
Yeah.
right? He can't be average. He can't be above average because really we're judging Ronnie Stanley on an all pro caliber type of
Yeah.
season, right? Because he's not playing that bad where it's just like, oh, he's trash. Put him in there with the Ben Clevelands and Salas and all those players, right? He's not playing that bad.
Yeah.
It's when he gives up a block and he's been playing some good some good defenders recently, right?
Mhm.
TJ Watt and was
Highsmith.
Highsmith and players like that. You know, if we can't get better play than that, then it's a bad pick. And I don't think any Ravens fan out there feels confident that we're able to bring in somebody that's going to replace Ronnie Stanley right now. Now, if he continues to decline, that's a different story. Okay, look, he doesn't have it anymore. We have to do something. But if it's a matter of, all right, he declined a little bit, still solid, you gotta keep him. If it's what I suspect, he's still not 100%, or he's still getting his legs under him. He'll continue to get better, play better. Then this is a moot point. But we don't have any answers on the roster, and I know there's going to be some people in the comments now saying Voorhees. Voorhees has no place on this team, and you can't sit there and say, "Hey, we got to get rid of Ryan Stanley because he's always hurt. He's not playing great, but let's get this guy who's been hurt every single year he's played football, and
Well,
is currently hurt."
and Voorhees is an interior lineman anyway. Like he's not
Yeah,
going to be in the conversation. Sala was a tackler in college, but he's not going to be in the conversation either.
no,
And so it's a moot point for the rest of this season anyway, because like you said, you're not going to be able to get a better player right now. I mean, if he continues to decline, then the best case scenario is Pat McCarry goes in and finishes out the season, because you're not going to you're very unlikely, let me put it that way, to bring in a player from outside who's better at this point.
yeah,
So, any conversation about moving on from Ronnie Stanley is in the off season, it is in the early months of 2024, right? Because there's just not anything that you could do about it right now, realistically, to shore up that spot in season, especially
and what
with
they're
a
gonna have to do.
quarterback who's been hurt the last couple of years because of O-line play.
Yeah, and what they're gonna have to do be if that's the route they really want to go, and I don't know if the Ravens really want to do this, but if that's the route they really want to go, is going to have to take an aggressive move, like trading up in the draft to get that tackle. If I'm not even sure what the draft class is looking like for tackles this year, but if there's one that looks like he can be a good starting left tackle, then you have to move up because we're going to be picking too low to pick one of those guys. So doing something that we know EDC doesn't like to do, and that's trading up in the draft. That's what it's going to take to replace them. If you're just waiting for somebody to fall to that's not really a plan. You're rolling the dice and hoping you get lucky. You know, and I don't. Yeah, I can't get with that.
Well, and then that's not a great plan anyway, moving up to draft a tackle, because they also need a left guard and a right guard and a right tackle.
Mhm.
So moving up would require, obviously, trading away draft picks, that will prevent you from filling those holes. So for right now, honestly, Ravens fans got to just wait and see, and let Stanley get a couple more games under his belt and see if he kind of gets, returns to form a bit. But right now, I mean, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. And if it's a matter of, hey, we got a guy that's taking up too much cap room, there are other places on the team that you can go to first to relieve our cap issues. Okay. You guys know our slogan, hashtag defund the defense. There's a couple places there that we can point at. And again, we love how the defense is looking. We like the players on there. But if you need some money, get it out the defensive side first. Okay. You guys know how I feel about Marcus Williams. I think he's a very good player. We're not getting $70 million worth out of him. Not his fault, right? You get hurt. That's unfortunate. But safety play has been just fine without him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's $70 million right there that you can get rid of. Patrick Queen, probably not going to get played. He's playing out of his mind right now. He looks great. I love the pairing with him and Roquan Smith. I would love to see them stay together. But if we're talking about we need money, he can go. Right? Marlon Humphrey, another one. And again, I'm not saying get rid of these guys. I'm saying if you need money, right? Defense has places where you can go and get that money from. Don't take it out the O-line where we're already struggling.
Yeah.
But yep, that's all we had on it. Ronnie Stanley, in our opinion, needs to stay put at least a couple more years until EDC or whoever replaces EDC, fingers crossed, comes up with a plan to replace him, or at the very least, this is another option, get better across the rest of the O-line, right? If we're going to have a weak spot on the left tackle side, make sure your left guard is really good. Make sure you have a good right guard. We know center is straight. Make sure you have a good right tackle. We had one. We didn't want to pay him. That's the other thing. That's another mistake that they made. If Orlando Brown is here right now, then moving on from Ronnie Stanley is a legit discussion to talk about.
Yeah, and look, it doesn't have to be a couple of years. I mean, we've seen teams revamp their offensive line in an off season. Yeah. It's just not going to happen in season.
No. Well, that's it. We will give you some more thoughts on Ronnie Stanley and the Ravens as a whole, especially the offense, this Wednesday on the LBHT show. If you are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button on this video. Also, if you want to support the show, there are a couple ways you can do it. One is right below B, $ LBHT show. That is a Cash App. You will see it on our live show along with our link to our Stream Elements page. Both ways is how you activate our super chat. That's how we do super chats over here. Okay. You leave your donation, leave your comment, and Microphone Man right here will give you a nice animation. Okay. Saluting you guys for your donation. Okay. Also, patreon.com/LBHT show is where you can sign up. We have a few tiers, $5, $10, 20, and 60. Did I get that right? I got that right. All of those give you all kinds of awesome perks. Okay, we'll discuss that more on the LBHT show, or just click on the link in the description and it'll break it down for you. But one of the big perks that people love is our overtime show. It's a bonus show that we provide after the LBHT show every Wednesday night. We discuss all kinds of things, man, but we keep it fun. We have guests on there, right? Also, you can sign up to our Discord through our Patreon for as little as $5. All right. So if you're able to support and you like what we're doing, it'll be much appreciated. But all right, that's it for this video. We will see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.